And allow us to crunch some numbers. The Pats are 11-0 this year when they score 23 or more points in a game. The Steelers are 0-5 when giving up that much. Overall, Pittsburgh allowed 16+ per game during the regular season. And now Mark Morgan's number is up again, up in Foxborough, joining us live in the fog, where he breaks down Bledsoe versus Blitzburg. Mark?
That's right, Vince. The Patriots have the highest scoring offense in the AFC, averaging 26 points per game. The Steelers have the #1 ranked defense in the AFC. And you can talk all you want about the vaunted steel curtain of the 70s. This Steelers team this year, this defense, has held opponents to an average of 88 yards per game rushing. So that's an incredible statistic. Today, as you said, an explosive offense against a great defense. Something has to give. Defense has always been a trademark in Pittsburgh, and this season the Steelers' D has been stellar. Ranked #2 in the NFL for the regular season, this group has an aggressive attacking style that often overpowers opponents. Specializing in the zone blitz, the Steelers' defenders wreak havoc in the backfield.
They hit you from so many different angles, so many different guys coming, they disguise it well. You think that, you're going to have one thing and it's something totally different. But, I think that the key to it is how they do it and the timing.
I believe they have an advantage when it comes to blitzing. I know back in Pittsburgh, that's where I'm from, everyone calls them Blitzburg, so, they developed that reputation, and that's what they do.
The Steelers' blitz has been tough on opposing quarterbacks, with 51 regular season sacks. Last week, Pittsburgh physically beat up Colts quarterback Jim Harbaugh, sacking him 4 times. Intimidation may not be the goal, but it is often the result.
We don't necessarily think of ourselves as intimidators, but we do play an intimidating style of defense. If we go out there and play like we need to, if we're very consistent like we need to be, we can definitely beat your team up in a hurry.
Next in the line of fire, Drew Bledsoe, who threw for over 4,000 yards during the regular season. The Patriots allowed 30 sacks this season, and protecting Bledsoe is a key concern.
We got to keep those guys off and give him a chance to sit back there and take advantage of what they're doing. They want to bring a couple guys up the middle, then somebody's going to be open, underneath. So we got to give him a little bit of time, and he'll get it done. We protect him a little bit, give him a few seconds, he can really hurt somebody.
You can't let Bledsoe just go out there and sling the ball around. So, our philosophy is get out the quarterback.
This is a game where he might take some hits, but it's just a situation where, he cannot get hit at the wrong time. We have to keep those guys off of him and make plays. When we get situations where they're blitzing and we're matched one-on-one against, either linebackers or defensive back, we have to beat the one-on-one really fast. So Drew, he won't have to, take hits unnecessarily.
One way to protect Bledsoe and counter the blitz, establish the running game.
They want to sit back and blitz you, and they want to control the tempo of the game. They want to set the tone. So, you run the ball well, they don't want to gamble so much now. They're not in a position where they can call the shots.
If they can continue to run the ball and keep us off balance, we can't, use our blitz package against them. So first and foremost, it's going to, slow down the running game, and then we can get after and start thinking about putting pressure on Bledsoe.
If the Patriots can contain the blitz, then the onus shifts to Pittsburgh, because they will have to deal with New England's powerful offense, which led the AFC in total points and was second only to Green Bay in the entire NFL. Tight end Ben Coates had 62 receptions during the regular season and led the team in touchdown catches with 9. He will get a lot of attention from the Steelers' linebackers and secondary.
I'm sure I will definitely wind up covering him at some point or another during the game, but he's something we have to watch for Ben Coates. He's made big plays in the past. He's a Pro Bowl tight end, and you don't get to the Pro Bowl by, blocking.
It's going to be a good challenge for us because they have so many weapons. I mean, Bledsoe is so resourceful, and then have Coates and this kid, Terry Glenn, who's now a great weapon, and then, Curtis Martin, he's had a great year when they've used him. So it's going to be a good challenge for our defense.
It will certainly be a big challenge for the Steelers defense. Drew Bledsoe has had a tremendous season. He is 7-1 in games played here at this stadium after December 1st, so that's something to keep in mind there. But the Steelers, they know all about the postseason. Pittsburgh, the only AFC team to make the playoffs each of the last 5 years. Vince?
Thank you, Mark. We have to take a break now on NFL Preview. Continue in a moment. When we come back, we'll talk live to Packer running back Edgar Bennett. Edgar bowled through the 49ers, and there was no stopping him. He slows down momentarily for NFL Preview. He's next.
Was in Cleveland, which is always like this. Of course it is. Well, you know, when the Steeler defense is on the field against the Patriots offense, there will be 9 Pro Bowlers on the field at the same time. Some enormously gifted and talented football players. Here's a preview of that matchup.
When New England's offense takes the field, they have no less than 5, count them, 5 Pro Bowlers ready to strike. But if you're a Steelers fan, don't get nervous, because they're staring down the barrel of 4 Pro Bowlers on the Steelers defense.
The way that it appears that they have launched their games is they get the pressure on the quarterback and then force you into some bad throws.
So what you got in this situation are a few Ali Frazier type matchups, which are going to be fun to watch. Let's start with linebacker Chad Brown versus left tackle Bruce Armstrong. Chad has been practically unstoppable. He's had a career year filling in for the injured Greg Lloyd. And get this, he's not even totally comfortable playing the position yet.
Well, I'm looking forward to the challenge because of the position I play. That's kind of going to be the only way that I can get out there, is when I'm playing against a marquee guy, and the people are gonna say, well, how's this guy doing? So it gives me a chance to go up and get my name out there right now.
Bruce Armstrong is the hired gun that protects the vulnerable blind side of Drew Bledsoe.
Smart guy, you know. He's been around, I think it's his 10th year. He's seen pretty much all the moves you can do, so it'll be more of a mental chess match with him. You know, I don't think I can go out there and beat him on my first move.
Now, take a moment to key in on this battle. Carnell Lake versus tight end Ben Coates. Carnell has the strength to battle him coming off the line, yet the speed to cover him in a pattern. Coates, meanwhile, has a knack for using his huge body to create seams and holes in the defense, and he has great hands to capitalize on his great position.
He's physical coming off the line. He likes to use his body to just block you out and get in front of the football.
Now, for middle linebacker Levon Kirkland versus running back Curtis Martin. Levon, as we all know, showed his great speed last week versus Indianapolis, and he's going to need every bit of it to shadow the cat-like Martin out of the backfield, as well as on sweeps around the corner.
Oh, it was a real good back, actually. A great runner, has a lot of speed, has a lot of quickness, hit the hole with a lot of explosion, and can do some things with the one-on-one situation. If you get a one-on-one situation in the open field, I mean, he's real dangerous.
Well, you can see by this rather dramatic shot from field level, the fog is tremendously dense here in Foxborough, so much so that Tunch and I, standing in the north end zone, can barely make out the goalpost in the south end zone. It will have a dramatic effect on this football game today, you can rest assured, should it not lift by kickoff time, which is less than an hour away. You know, Tunch, if you watched either of the games yesterday, you heard the announcers say all day long, great players make great plays to win games of this nature. And I think the Steelers proved that particularly against Indianapolis, didn't they?
Well, remember last week we were really concerned about a couple guys. Carnell Lake coming off an injury, Chad Brown with a bad ankle, and Jerome. So we were watching them warm up to make sure they were all right. And needless to say, they all came up big.
Indeed they did. The great football players of the Pittsburgh Steelers, at least last weekend, certainly came up with the great plays.
There was no greater example of big play players making the big-time plays than last week's win over the Colts. Chad Brown asserted himself early as he pounds the gritty Jim Harbaugh into submission. This sack set the tone for the whole afternoon. Levon Kirkland showed his speed on this spectacular interception. He not only kept up with the receiver, he had the awareness to turn, find the ball, and make the catch. A sign of a true athlete. Carnell Lake put the nail in the Colts' coffin with this remarkable display of quickness. He not only reads the play, but practically beats the running back to his own pitch out. Turnover, Steelers. Here, Jerome not only sparks the crowd with this gallop into open territory, but he gave proof to the Colts' defense that the Steelers' running game had officially taken over this contest. Again, big plays by big playmakers.
And so the question here is, how much will Cordell Stewart play at quarterback for the Steelers today? With the fog the way it is, there won't be much passing at all. More of our live Steelers 96 from Foxborough right after a break.
Time for today's Coors Light Trivia Quiz. Only one team from the wild card slot has ever made it all the way to Super Bowl champions. Can you name that team? Oakland Raiders made it to the Super Bowl and then defeated the Philadelphia Eagles to be world champs.
Welcome back to Foxborough Stadium. The big cheer you hear is that the New England Patriots coming on the field in mass as we speak. Just off to our right, we're in the north end zone of Foxborough Stadium. You know, if you look down the list of common opponents this year, the Steelers and New England Patriots have played 6 common opponents. The Patriots are 7-2 against that group. The Steelers are 6-2, so I guess you really can't glean very much from that. But you did glean something from a conversation earlier this week with Buffalo Bills head coach Marv Levy, Tunch.
Well, you know, what better way to find out about someone than talk to a coach who's played both teams? And Marv's a real interesting gentleman. The thing he told me was that he thinks Chad Brown is the best defensive player that the Bills have faced this year. Then he talked about Ben Coates, the tight end for the Patriots. He said he is a magnificent player. And I asked him for a prediction. He wouldn't give me one, but he did say in close playoff games, he likes a team with the best defense.
Perhaps a way of saying he likes the Steelers without really saying it. You know, the New England Patriots and Steelers have had a limited rivalry over the years. The Steelers have dominated as of late, winning the last 5 times. All of those games played at Three River Stadium. But 3 years ago, the New England Patriots thought that they had won the game on the final play.
When you think of the Steelers-Patriots, it's not like it's a big rivalry. There's not a lot of history here. But when you walk into the Steelers front office, what you see is this giant blown-up picture of Drew Bledsoe being stopped by the Steeler defense on the last play of the game 2 years ago.
They'll win it or lose it on this play. They win it. Over the top, Bledsoe still haven't signaled. They haven't signaled. It looked like he got in, but no official signal. This is all on the officials. It looked like Bledsoe got a yard over the top. We'll watch again on replays. The officials rule against the Patriots and for the Steelers.
Steeler photographer Mike Fabus, a guy that's always at the right spot at the right time, took this photo. And speaking of position, look at Levon Kirkland. He's the guy that made the play. Now, there's some controversy whether he was in or whether he was not. Let's talk to Kirkland and see what he has to say.
I remember that, you know, it's pretty exciting. I thought he was going to hand it off to Russell, but Bledsoe kind of took it on his own, tried to dive it in, and I just timed it out pretty good and got a good stop on him.
Do you remember at the time, did you think he was in, or did you know that he was stopped?
I kind of knew he was stopped, but I wanted to look at the replay just in case, just to see if he, you know, legitimately was stopped, and he was, and it was a pretty happy moment for me.
The record books say he never made it, but you know what? People in New England argue that.
They win it. Over the top, Bledsoe still haven't signaled. They haven't signaled. It looked like he got in.
Yeah, live in Foxborough for the Steelers and Patriots, and coming up in the next segment, NBC's football guru Will McDonough, live on Steelers 96 right after a break.